We have had a strong reaction to this on Record Sports social media channels and some of the live comments too. Alan McClure says, if it goes back to 10, I'm done with it. Need a larger league, not a smaller one. Benefit the many, not the few. Charlie says, proposing for subtracting 2 instead of adding 4. Yikes. Angelo says, no proper league has 10 teams in it. We should go back to having 2 divisions like we used to, where each team plays each other team twice a season in the league.
Try selling that one to Sky TV.
Aye, exactly.
And see where your broadcast deal goes.
Aye. This one as well from David. He says, going to 10 teams is about as sensible as being blind in one eye and washing the other with bleach. 16 teams minimum is
we'll try that at home, kids.
It's the only way forward. And we've got plenty of live comments coming in as well. Dennis says 28 team league, play each other home and away, no split simples. I think basically what I'm getting at here, all the comments, guys, is that there's very few showing an appetite for a 10-team league.
No, and this is the point, and I'll let Fraser, have his say on it. But this is the point. Whether it's fans of individual clubs, fans of different clubs, whether it's chairman, whether it's boards of the 42, 43 clubs that will get involved in all of this, there's no real prospect of consensus because everybody's got their own agenda, and it was ever thus. And it's why reconstruction got torpedoed 5 years ago. And it's why this latest attempt is almost certain to be torpedoed again.
What do you make of it, Fraser?
Look, you could almost set your clock or your calendar by reconstruction chat, can't you? Every April, there's some form of reconstruction chat. I think the last 2 years it's mainly been focused around the lower leagues and relegation out the bottom division. But as Keith rightly says, 5 years ago during the COVID madness, this was a big talker. But, I mean, there's a reason why your 16, 18 team leagues that we used to have happened before the event of live football, really. Because now it's all about money. Now it's all about getting as many games and TV as you can. The bigwigs are absolutely driven by money these days. More games, more TV revenue, happy bigwigs. So motivation's right down to the bottom levels, always driven by money. And that's why maybe the status quo that we've had for 25 years now, maybe there's a reason why that's stuck. Maybe that suits most of the people best. And for me, the main reason the punters don't want to go back to 10 is for excitement levels, One, nobody wants to play a team 4 times in a league season and then have the chance of playing them again in cup competitions. That's just staleness. 2, one of the best things of the current setup has been the split. Getting rid of the split just raises alarm bells for me because right now, if you look at our league right now, that top 12, positions 1 and 2 have been cemented for a couple of months now, right? Rangers, nothing you do to the top tier will change the fact Rangers and Celtic. Celtic and Rangers will finish 1 and 2 in any order, right? Underneath that right now, look, you've got battles going on for third spot. You've got battles going on to make the top 6. Right now, Dundee United, Hearts, St Mirren, Motherwell, with 2 games before the split, are all fighting to get in that top 6. And then the bottom end of the division, absolute madness, trying to avoid the relegation scrap. And then when the split does come in, you've got the 2 mini leagues of 6, fighting for European spots, fighting against relegation. This is the best way right now to keep the league exciting, as exciting as we can get a Scottish top tier. Going to 14, as Keith explained, that's just... Going to 14 is going to complicate matters when it comes to the split. Going to 16 or 18 is going to reduce the number of times the smaller teams get to play the Old Firm, Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Aberdeen, Hibs. So they won't vote for that. They're wanting at least 3 cracks at the big boys to get the money in through the gates. Mm-hmm. Right now, I think the status quo suits almost everybody. And that's why, if you're looking for 11 out of the 12 top flight to vote to go to 10, it's not going to happen. I agree with Keith. It's not going to happen.
Keith, I've always quite liked the split, but do I sense you're not a fan of it?
Yeah. Maybe I'm just guilty of being a traditionalist, but as Fraser said, this is now tradition.
25 years, it's mental, isn't it?
I've never liked the idea of it from the start, because you look at the big leagues around Europe and, rightly or wrongly, we always try and judge ourselves against the best. Maybe that's a failing. Maybe we shouldn't be doing that. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. But I always kind of aspired to, in a perfect world, do you know what? We'd have 20 teams. And we'd do what the English Premier League do. But what would that look like in reality?
No.
The 10, I didn't mind the 10 back in the day, I was never that against it. I didn't find it as sort of boring and repetitive as a lot of people obviously did. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe the 12 is the best solution. I've never enjoyed the split because I just felt there was just something a little bit amateur hour about it. And I think it does throw up anomalies. It does throw up anomalies.
It does. That's
and there are certain unfairnesses which are generated because of the split and because of the nature of the split, with some teams having to go to specific grounds 3 times in one season. That's not fair. And I find that it's hard. A season to me should be 38 games. And I find it difficult to say to somebody after 33 games, you might only be 1 goal of a difference between you in 7th and them in 6th, but you're now a bottom 6 side. And of course, you've then got the crazy one where that side that's sitting in 7th can win 3 or 4 of its games in the bottom 6 and end up with more points than the team sitting above it.
Aye, it does.
All these things I'm uncomfortable with. Maybe I've grown more comfortable with them over the years. Maybe Fraser's right. Maybe the status quo is the best way for Scottish football. I don't know. Am I saying change for change's sake? Am I saying go to a 10 just to see how it looks? But we have tried it before, and clearly there was a reason that we then moved to a 12, even though it meant having to accommodate this crazy split and all these sort of new ideas which had to be attached to the split because of its very nature. If we were so bored with the product that we felt it was a good idea to take this on in the first place, it might not be that. It might not take that long to get back to the exact same position if we did change to a 10. But as I said, in order for it to change to a 10, you're going to need 11 out of the 12 clubs, whatever it is in the Premier League, to say, yeah, that's a good idea. That cannot be done because effectively 2 of those clubs are going to go right away and not come back, and it might be 3 if you need to factor in, a promotion. So no, I just don't see on any basis. We can't achieve consensus in Scottish football. We should all know that by now. We just can't. Scottish football is the sport that could start an argument in an empty room. Never mind shoehorning all our professional SPFL clubs into one room and expecting them to walk out half an hour later, shaking hands and having worked out the new blueprint for the future of the Scottish game. It cannot happen because these conversations are led from a starting point by self-interest.
Yeah.
And until such times as somebody actually shakes the tree and says, do you know what, guys, we're going to put a chief executive, or we're going to put somebody in charge of this who is mandated by you, the clubs, to say this is what Scottish football should look like. We're starting with a blank canvas, and this, having done our research, this is exactly what we need. But that guy would need to be mandated. The clubs would need to agree to that in advance. Won't happen. And then in this fantasy world where they do that, the guy would need to walk back into the room and say, right, I know you're not going to like this. You're not like it. You're certainly not going to like it. But here's what it is. And then everybody just has to get along and go with that. That for me, is probably the best case scenario, but it's a dream scenario. There's no way in this earth that the clubs are going to allow somebody that mandate to tell them, what their future looks like. It will not happen. Cannot happen.
See, Stephen, just one last thing for me in this, and going back to the split again, I think I've just realised talking about it how much I love the split. But having covered Hearts for the majority, for a lot of this season anyway, I've covered Hearts. So they are now facing 2 huge games to make the top 6. They play Dundee United this Sunday, and one of those 2 sides is in serious danger of not making the top 6. And to be honest, it's Hearts. Imagine if Hearts miss the top 6 now, and it would probably be down to the start they made to the season. That'd be disastrous. So that makes the next 2 games huge for Hearts. Whereas in a normal league, they probably could just trundle on until the final 3 or 4 games of the season. See if you compare our split, by the way, to similar sized European leagues. I'm thinking
It's more fair. It's more equitable.
By the way, Denmark, Switzerland, Belgium. Belgium splits into 3, and then they half every team's points and start again. Carol Vorderman would struggle to keep up with what's going on there. It's absolute bonkers. So at least ours is pretty much. Keith's right. Normally, you'll finish with a team finishing 7th will have more points than the team finishing 6th, which is a bit of an anomaly. But you can put up with it. We're used to that.
You can live with that, Fraser. Yeah, you're right.
The one really important argument on going back to a 10-team league, and it's the old one that the pressure on managers to field youngsters when there's more of a chance of getting relegated, the pressure cranks up, and the feeling amongst a lot of punters is that they'll be less inclined to field youngsters throughout the season. We've already got a problem with top flight sides and the number of minutes that Scottish under-21 players are getting in the Scottish Premiership at the moment. I think outside Motherwell certainly doing okay. Hearts, Kilmarnock have done all right this season. The rest not doing very well in terms of minutes for Scottish under-21 players.